At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us. I am Yuri Folari. Okay, we have a number of friends. We'll call them friends of the house, and I guess Mike Igini is one of them, and it's been quite a while. In fact, we were discussing before coming on air, hey Mike, have you been in here this year at all? The man has been very busy. Anyway, it's great to have you, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for
having me.
coming on.
Thank you very much.
Mike,
I'm delighted to be here.
Indeed.
After a very long time.
Indeed, of INEC, Cross River.
Thank you.
Right.
No, Akwa Ibom.
Sorry, Akwa Ibom.
Thank you.
They are cousins.
Of course, you are right.
Now, the last that people heard, that is to say, maybe people who don't know you, only know you by your, professional aspect, I would wager that the last they heard was when you were accused of meddling in the Edo election. Quite a serious accusation. At the time, you had responded, but you went beyond that. You actually instituted a libel suit. Give us any progress on that.
Thank you very much. Yes, I would say that the accusation by Colonel Imose and one Mayaki happened to be one of the most reckless and irresponsible accusations that I've ever been charged with. In the sense that a man cannot be in two places at the same time. You can't be in Lagos and at the same time be accused of holding a phantom meeting in Benin.
In the wee hours.
In the wee hours. What that shows clearly with respect to these two characters is that we have no book of remembrance in our country. And that's a problem we are having in this society. If indeed these two characters were part of the 2015, they would have remembered that in 2015, and I thank various Nigerians who have all come out to speak on this matter. This is my second time, at least first time on TBC to speak on the subject matter, who have all spoken about me across the country, from the north, east, west, and south. The fact that my votary for due process of law in defense of democracy is very clear. In 2015, if Colonel Imose was in Benin and Mayaki, they would have known that out of 11 states, 6 from South-South and 5 from Southeast, it was only Edo State where I presided over. And I made the point clear that time that this issue about federal might under the PDP leadership. And I said, in Edo State, it will be the will of the people. There's no federal might that will work in Edo State, but the will of the people expressed through the ballots. And so, in that 2015, that was the only state the party APC got senatorial seats, 4 federal seats out of 9, PDP 5. The president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the only state in the whole of South and Southeast where it's scored 46% over and above the 25% minimum requirement. That has been my record in that state. That state, Edo, Delta, we are tied together in a single garment of one destiny. And as the son of the soil, I will never do anything to undermine our people. That was the record when I left. And when I left, Iyori, after the election, both the APC and the PDP, they came to INEC office to give me a commendation. That is, people who were in an election in 2015.
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day. But so what happened? Just merely passing through Edo State before that election, a few weeks before the election,
was enough.
Going to Delta, just see my shadow.
Was enough for them.
They saw me at the restaurant eating with some other people from Southwest. They were going for a burial ceremony. This guy went off the mark. So, with respect to that, the matter is coming up on the 1st of next month, on the 7th. We're looking forward to seeing Colonel Imose and Mayaki.
Because he who alleges must prove.
Absolutely, to come and prove all of that. So that is...
So the matter is still very much on. I was thinking that perhaps there might have been approaches that can we settle out of court, it was a mistake. I don't know. Nothing like that.
My reputation is very important. I have no other thing. People can boast of words and so many things. But the only thing is my name, my family name, and nobody will be allowed to do anything to destroy it.
Since we're still, in this area, before I go on to a bit larger subject of democracy and the rule of law, there's also the whole aspect of arraigning university professors as well as the dismissal of some INEC staff under your watch. Again, these look like very serious actions. Starting from the arraignment of professors.
Yes, thank you very much. Yori, I must say this here. What is ongoing in Akwa Ibom State is not the first time. We have done the same thing in Cross River State, where people were sent, were prosecuted. They were sent on jail. Where even some staff of INEC who you appear to be a staff, you're on the roll, the nominal roll, you are schooling abroad, unknown to the system. So fumigated all of that, and some have to throw in the towel. So it's not new. But here's the point. You see, when the journey of Nigeria and the prospect of democracy was less certain, very many of us, at a very young age, we stood tall and mighty in defense of democracy and the rule of law. We fought for this democracy. But regrettably, those who didn't fight for democracy, those who were on the other side, do not know the importance of what we fought for. Because when a purpose is not understood, abuse is inevitable. With respect to this arraignment, it should be noted that if democracy or the institution of representative democracy will have a hopeful future in our country, it will be predicated on a periodic, regular, free, fair, and credible election. Because credible election is what gives spice and piquancy to the practice of democracy. And INEC as a body do not have all the personnel required to conduct election. We have to depend on other institutions. As a matter of fact, we live in a world of interdependence, institutional interdependence for survival, because that is the way God's universe is made and structured. We decided that move away from the use of state civil servants on account of very difficult elections we've had arising for compromise in time past. And we embrace the university lecturers. These are people who are men of presumed integrity, who are supposed to be role model, people who have acquired a BSc, the master degree, a PhD, and now in the rank of a professor to be part of the process. And in the build-up to that process, the commission, under the headship of Mahmoud Yakubu, gave a stern warning about the need to enforce the rules, because election is a law-driven process, and that the umpire itself must see to it that the rules are both being observed by its own officials and enforced fully, fairly, and impartially. Consequently, I went to university classrooms where the training was going on, and I pleaded with the lecturers that there's a great concern in this country, from one election cycle to another, where university professors are now changing the outcome of results declared at the polling unit, at the work relations center, and that this is bringing down our democracy, because a credible election is the bedrock of democracy. I went further to also warn that under my watch in Akwa Ibom State, the vote will not only count, But it must be counted and taken into account to determine who becomes what. That people like us, who constitute what we call unelected chambers, we should not be more important than those who will cast the vote because we are counting the votes. I gave this warning. I have the audio tape of all my encouragement to all of them. Because we need the election as principal instrument to compare and to encourage elected public officers to pay attention to citizens. Because the whole essence of service is leadership. Now, I will speak about only one. Okay. Because one had been successfully arraigned.
I'm talking about the professors now.
Yeah, two professors.
Yeah.
Professor Ogban and Professor Ignatius Uduk. Professor Ogban has been arraigned in court. I can only talk about because people have asked, why did you take them to court? I can discuss you as a lawyer that as to his guilt, with respect to the one that have been arraigned properly or taken his plea, it is left for the court to determine. But I can only explain to people why we went to court. We went to court with respect to the first defendant on the ground that this defendant, in this matter, our complaint is that his colleague collated results at the level first declared by presiding officers, recorded in the process of documentation at the level of the local government, where two of his colleagues had handed over, I know the INEC procedure when you are doing collation. For example, you want to say 1,500. It is not said, that's not the way you pronounce it. It said 1, 5, 0, 0, 1, 5, 0, 0. You know, that's the procedure. You can remember that.
I do.
This professor, which is our complaint, was that he claimed, on account of what we have found on the document, that rather than recording as a collation and returning officer, he said it was what he heard that was vocalized that he heard and not what he saw. And what did he do? Just you and I, for instance, a total of 50,000 votes, for instance. You have 35,000 votes. I have 15,000 votes. What he did was that without changing the total, I think it's a statistician, it's a mathematician. What he did was to cleverly, it will take 5,000 from your vote, it will add to my own vote. So yours will be decreasing, mine will be increasing. Without changing the total remains. But unknown to them, and I warn them, that we have developed measures, processes that are replicable and transferable to bring about a credible election to ensure that the will of the Nigerian people must govern in any election. We trigger the EOSC, the Electoral Operations Support Center. I sit in my office, and we have systems that monitors from the central bank down to every polling unit under my watch. Every presiding officer in any polling unit, you can't joke with the process because I will track you right there on my table in my office. I don't need to travel anywhere, go anywhere. In the 2,100 and something polling unit, I don't need to go there. But what happened? It changed the figure to change alter the entire thing that was done. Now, that was respect to Ignatius. The one that is on the run, Professor, that's Ogban. Professor Ignatius, who is on the run, a whole professor is on the run right now, was that in his own case, he wrote a report, handwritten, that there was no election. But however, he was given a result on which he declared, or rather, which he signed. We decided to invite him, come and tell us. Are you supposed to be given already collated result by somebody who you failed to disclose? He was on the run. I was far away in Malawi after the 2019 election to deliver election. While I was there, the committee I set up for him to show up. He refused to show up. And as we speak, he has refused. Then Abuja, I sent a letter to Abuja, and the chairman set up a committee for all of them to appear. This same professor who got result collected and given to him, you know, some professors, they will appear, disappear, they are not, and disappear, and all of that. He refused to show up. We found it in tribunal. Suddenly, the same professor was driven in a tinted vehicle to a tribunal, standing as a witness against the umpire that engaged him, that he had refused to debrief as a witness against INEC. All effort to get him, what about him? He now wrote a letter to threaten the commission. If we dare call him again for any kind of conversation on this matter, will take us to court. Now we are in court. He's running away. But he has taken a very serious mistake. The court of law of the country, a bench warrant has been arrested, has been issued. It's not the warrant of that of police.
You know,
to now appear on the night.
Yeah.
But the point here is this. Where are we going to? If we felt that these are people of presumed integrity, we have come to you. In 2023, are we going to go to God to help us?
So it shows
with
that
some angels to help us do election, professors at that level, whereas in Ghana, you're in Ghana here, a presiding officer goes home with the election materials. But look at the money we are spending every day. We are spending so much money. In fact, the ballot paper, ordinary paper, they now have the comfort of enjoying air conditioner in Central Bank. They kept in Central Bank. Police will be escorting ordinary life papers. In our country. Because of the reign of impunity. So what we have done as a commission is to ensure that the reign of impunity from one electoral cycle to other must have to stop in our country. Because for the people to have faith and confidence in the integrity of our public institutions, those who break the law must be dealt with, as I have said, because whoever desires the honor of a king must not break the law of the land.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. You know something that occurred to me when you were saying that from your office you are able to actually monitor right from the central bank, right through the process. Is this a facility available to all resident electoral commissioners?
Sure. We have what we call the EOSC, Election Operations Support Center. The interesting thing, if you come to that center, in my office, the conference center, you see all the equipment they are out there. Every 20 minutes, they will give me a printout of what happened, local government by local government, ROA by ROA, polling by polling unit.
I see.
They will give me order. So I see, that was why some people tried to joke the process at about 2 a.m. When I placed a call to them, they were shocked. They thought I was an invisible, with a spirit or something. I said, no, we can see what you are doing. You know, you cannot continue to do this because we are taught that we have a shared vision. We need to have a shared vision. Because when there is a shared vision, a common belief, there will be harmony of interest. And when there's a harmony of interest, it will reduce opportunistic behavior exhibited by this professor. But I must underscore that what these two professors did, as well as Southwestern, does not represent the overwhelming majority of the lecturers that worked with us commendably. In the same vein, our own staff, those who have been dismissed, who were involved in what we call pre-election matters, were also not a reflection of the overall huge number of INEC staff that have done so well to the extent that, as a commissioner, I have written a letter of recommendation. I've already done that before. A letter of recommendation to be put in their file. Those to be promoted have been promoted. All right? But for those who deviate from the highest standard of ethical expectation,
there will be repercussions.
Move away. Okay. Because that's the only way. We can sanitize the process. Because the ballot is the best means of expression of the will of the people in a democracy.
You know, Mike.
A rigged election, a manipulated election, will leave the voter at the wrong end of democracy. What will be happening is a mere election without the ritual of voting. That's what we're left with. And that is why the commission, as you could see in what happened in Edo State in recent elections, that the process of collation of results, we have developed, I told you about processes that we have developed. In fact, the problem we have now is not INEC as it used to be before, because you all know very well that INEC in time past was very complicit. But since 2011, to date, we can see the kind of progress we have made.
Indeed.
Because for every civilization, there's a primitive past.
So actually, from what you share with us, we can see that it's no easy task for INEC because, look, you just explained how you go to the highest level of academia, yes, you know, where you would expect people who are busy teaching, you know, others to commonly useful persons in society are acting in the way that we have to use the word allegation for now, right, you know, that you have alleged pending when they sort themselves out in court. I don't know what else, as you said, what else you could have done, but it is what it is. Now, the other aspect is you were tying credible elections to sustainable democracy, right, or actual or truthful democracy. I wonder how we can go about that, because these are different times. I imagine you yourself might give a nod towards the American system, for example. Well, that's where the whole world gets its concept of democracy from. But look at what we're in the middle of in America now. First of all, that American scenario, could it possibly come about in Nigeria, where elections have been conducted, results have been declared, winners have been known, but the incumbent says, "I no go gree"?
Yeah. This is what we are trying to do here. That democracy is predicated on periodic elections. In fact, modern democracy is inconceivable if we don't have credible election to be midwifed by strong institution. What you see happening in America is a clear lesson to us of the need to build institutions. You and I, and all of us who are occupying what I refer to as, we all know as transient, power is transient. It doesn't last forever. We have opportunity to give meaning and purpose to democracy through building institutions. You can see how the resilience of the American institution in supporting democracy in America, that one man who tried to dismantle a system built for years, have been finding it very difficult. So like I have said somewhere that, look, let's not even be comparing. Let us try and be a good student of democracy. You know, you cannot have democracy without having Democrats, people who have imbibed some values. Because democracy itself is not democracy is about, it's not about structure. It's not about buildings. Democracy is about values. Democracy is about principles. Democracy is about attitude. Democracy is about practices, which by themselves are not final product that you graft into a society. It's a dynamic process that are nurtured, enriched, and grows with the growth of society. So, what you see and the effort we are trying to make here is to build institutions that the process is the most important thing to all of us. And for the American election, there are messages for 5 categories of persons: the commission, security agencies, judiciary, the media, and the ordinary citizens. And I will touch on them one after the other. Okay.
But indeed, you do that. But I've got to take a break now, Mike. And I've done very, very little, interjection, because this is a thrilling story that you're telling. Especially, I imagine that it's not everybody that knew that INEC has the system that you've just disclosed to us, such that resident electoral commissioners can sit in their office and be monitoring like a spirit, so to speak.
Implementation may be different everywhere, but we have the system.
Good. Okay.
And I implement it fully.
Okay. So what we're going to do is that we'll take this break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back, and Mike Igini will continue, and of course, we'll take your calls as well.
There's always more to a story than the scrimmage line. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV station of the year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Join me, Precious Amayo, as I bring you news from the epicenter, where it happens and when it happens, staying on top of every breaking story, minute by minute, right at the hour when the city gets busy and just before it sleeps. We're live from every angle with objective insight and analysis. TVC News, first with breaking news.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Okay, welcome back. I'm still with Mike Igini in studio, resident electoral commissioner in Akwa Ibom. And just before we left, you were saying that what's going on in America actually, has lessons for 5 categories of persons. You named them all, and you were about to look at them again.
Yes, very quickly. First, institution. Institution is what we need to build. Because the journey of you and I, and whoever is in office today, will come to an end one day. But the journey of Nigeria is forever. And it's only institution that can safeguard the destiny of our country. That's the efforts we are making to build institution. But what do we find in terms of response from the political elite, who are the greatest threats to Nigeria's stability and progress? Today, we are undermined by our own selves. INEC,
The political
class, who, according to Marco Olsen theory, belongs to what we call the roving bandit and stationary bandits.
Roving bandits and stationary bandits. But bandits, both of them.
Both of them are bandits. You need to go and study that. Now, society institutions are built on trusts. That was the point well underscored by Francis Fukuyama in his book, Trusts. And further developed by Edward Banfield when he wrote in his book, The Moral Basis of a Backward Society. How do you explain that INEC, from one election cycle to the other, INEC assets are being attacked, destroyed? In the 2019 election, offices were destroyed.
Indeed. Okay.
Massive violence. Offices were destroyed. We lost car readers.
This was
about
when
160 car readers.
Sorry, I just wanted to be sure that, as you say, it predates the NSAS protests.
Oh, no, sure. This one predates NSAS protests.
That when, because some of the pictures that I saw, I'm sure the producers were going to, I was saying, well, did I suffer from NSAS? So these are some of the pictures.
Yes. Now, we have been attacked.
And this has nothing to do with NSAS.
No, not at all. This is not NSAS in 2019. We are talking about building our electoral process.
Sure. Because
this thing is going to repeat itself in 2023. As you can see here, these are vehicles, 16 buses hired by INEC. 11 were burnt to ashes, as you could see. 5 vandalized. These were service providers engaged by INEC to help carry election material. On the evening of that day, they burned all of them. All right? Card reader were vandalized. Our office, a newly built office, was also burnt down. 22 generators were burnt. And so many things destroyed. About 5 offices were attacked in Akwa Ibom. Similar in other states too, of course, you were following us at that time. This will not answer, so we're talking about in that, before the election, the build up to that election. The question is, so both our hardware, the hardware and the software is now under massive attack. So from what you see, what kind of country do you want to build? Of violence? And who are the perpetuators? The political elite.
Because
they are the ones
those are the suspects.
Doing this.
Those are the suspects. Who else has any
those
business
of them
attacking
who now
INEC?
belong to what you call the roving bandit and the stationary bandit. That's the kind of thing we are going through. But for us, because we have no other country, Yori, that is why some of us, we have no choice but to continue to engage, to appeal to folks.
To refuse to be discouraged.
That's not look, as I tell you, I'm getting frustrated. Because when I left school, secondary school, some of my classmates at that early age, because we've been reading about Nigeria will be somewhere by year 2000. That time we thought it was a very long period.
Very long. Wait.
My mates left the country immediately after secondary school. After the university, they said there was no hope in Nigeria. And I said, no, we'll stay here, we'll build it, you can go. When I left university, of course, all through my university day, it was all battle to return Nigeria to democracy. Many of my colleagues, they left. That we all should leave. I said, I'm not going to go. We are going to, because where you are going to, people develop those countries. Where we change this country. That has been my dream.
Yeah.
But today, sometimes they will call me.
But it's clear you
Mike, how market? That's what they used to do. They called me.
But
I have no regrets.
But all of this,
but
it seems
it is
to me
painful.
You have the chairman.
It's a sad reality.
Well, you have the chairman. It's clear that you have the chairman of INEC solidly behind you, and other, commissioners.
The commissioner as a whole, because it's the commissioner as a whole that is being attacked.
Yes.
Not just one person. All right? But how can we? You see, we lack ethical commitment to make progress. You expect that university lecturers, professors who are teaching students on character and learning, who are teaching in character and learning. Look at what they have shown right now. A university professor on the run. How do you explain that? Now, so in respect of institution, INEC, we're going to do that. And that's what you saw, that right now, to deal with the problem of sudden changes of outcome of election results that have been declared at the polling unit, now becoming something else at the point of collation, the commission developed what we call the INEC portal, the public viewing portal, all right? That has made it now difficult for anybody to change a result. That is, at the polling unit, by virtue of the form EC60G, 60E, what we call the people's, EC80, the result is published there. And immediately, from that polling unit, it is sent immediately to the next point of collation. But in any case, it is published. And that was why in the end,
there's very little chance of
you
interference.
Can't do it because everybody is now aware of it.
Okay, one moment, Mike.
You have access to it. Now on the media.
As we've been speaking, media, okay, we'll come back to that, media. Because as we've been speaking, Emmanuel in Wari has called in. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Go right ahead, please.
Good morning to your wonderful guest.
Mike Igini, indeed.
Mike Igini. Honestly, is somebody always, even my colleagues, somebody called me Mike Igini one time in the office. Not for anything, because I always like the passion in which he talks. I can see patriotism in him. I did not actually got to contribute much to really stick with I'm his differ.
Okay.
My name is Mohammed. I'm still Emmanuel. Mohammed, calling from Wadi rather.
Mohammed. Your name is Mohammed.
Yes.
I don't know where Mohammed Emmanuel.
No, Mohammed. Haruna Mohammed. Mohammed.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll take away Emmanuel.
Mohammed is my name.
Okay.
I'm calling from Wadi, Delta State.
Mohammed calling in from Wadi. We got that now. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So,
Yes. So I was talking about the take from what is going on in the U.S.
Oh, no. The press. You wanted to go on to the press.
Yeah, the U.S. Now I'm talking about the media.
You're talking about the press in the U.S.
Yes, I talked about the message for the 5 stakeholders in Nigeria. Or people take the judiciary. You can see the judiciary standing tall and mighty in defense of democracy over there. And you know the interesting people don't get some of this history very well. The 2000 Florida issue we talked about. The American judiciary, which is the backbone of the democracy, they ensure that processes and procedure are followed strictly. If you look at all the issue raised, petition raised, they have nothing to do with the vote itself, but it's about procedure.
It is.
It's about procedure.
Yes.
It's about procedure. They are very reluctant to go into vote counting. They don't want to see themselves as an unelected chamber counting vote in court. That should be left for the bodies involved in that election. And you could see the timelessly. Look, swearing in will take place on the 20th of January. You get it? Everybody is working. Forget about what Donald Trump is doing. You know that.
And they're working with the processes.
The
systems you were talking about earlier.
Exactly.
You know.
You could see what is going on in America. So in that year 2000 case, the Supreme Court declined by asking the court below that they should go and do another recount. When Agor realized that the time for swearing was getting close, he decided that there is no perfect election anywhere in the world, but they must defend the American democratic heritage, and he gave in. We don't find that here. That's a lesson for the judiciary. With media, you already, look, we thank the media for all the triumph that we have achieved in this country and all part of the world because of the role of the media. But there's something that the media need to take on board from what happened in the U.S. In the current problem in the U.S., you could see that the media, they do their own investigation and they take a position that what Trump has said, his supporters, his lawyers, if there's no evidence, they do their own clear investigation. But what do you find here of late? Allegation will be thrown at the commission and all of that. You are now made to go and defend yourself. I asked one of my colleagues in the U.S. in the last trip where we went for monitor the 2016 even Donald Trump election. And he told me that it's not as if people don't throw accusations. I said, but their media will first and foremost exonerate you because they will do their own investigation. For instance, would it have been necessary for me to be going to court if the media, when this reckless individual in Edo State, who have no sense of history, threw that debt at me, that I was in Benin, driving a vehicle, carrying sacks of bags of money, those obscene nonsense they said about. The media could have, on its own, made that investigation to determine whether on that day, was I there? I wasn't there. But the beauty here, from what is going on in the U.S., when you ask them, they said the media is a stakeholder because they are the only body under their own constitution also, like our Section 22, that should hold all of us accountable to the Nigerian people. So you have a duty to do that investigation. Are we doing that? We are not doing that.
Okay.
Now, security.
Before you go there, Ruben has called in from Sapele. Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to align myself very well with your guest, Mr. Mike Igini. I want to say, I pray we get to the point where we begin to do things like the United States. You can see that even Donald Trump not conceding, the process is working. Irrespective of whether he likes it or not, 20th January, Biden takes over. This is where you don't have to know who or to be the right-hand man of the president or the security forces trying to show that I'm on the side of the president. No. This is a place where the system works. They don't care whose house is being battered. You see, like Mike said, if we have a replica of him in every part of Nigeria, I think we would be doing better in this country. And please, lastly, before I forget, I want to ask what is happening about the electoral reform that we talked about.
Indeed, we're going to come to it. We're going to come to it. It was one of the questions that I had. Thank you very much, Ruben. Really appreciate your calling in. Thank you indeed very much. And the electoral reform, as a matter of fact, Mike Igini, you might know, is the vice chair of the Electoral Reform Committee of the NBA. So we'll come to it, but I didn't want to disrupt.
Yes, very quickly. Now, security.
Yes.
Very professional. You don't have to take side. Because your family members, they don't go to a different market. Professionalism is very important. Security should not be used to rig election. And I was very clear where I work. And I'm thankful to the agencies that also work with me and cooperated very well, particularly the DSS. The DSS, you see, we all have our different experiences, but I've been very fortunate everywhere I work that the security agencies, particularly the DSS, have already done a good job wherever I work. Everything that we are able to correct early enough were made possible by the office of the DSS in the state. So, security. Now, the citizens, you have a role to play. Because election is not an end itself. Election is only a means towards an end. But in our country, we are behaving as if everything is about election. In fact, we have hadn't finished the 2019 election. We are already talking about 2023 elections. So we are concerned with what you call, what Dove referred to as what you call the minimal goal of democracy, which is regular election. But the maximal goal of democracy is all about development, because the whole embrace of democracy itself is because it brings about participation and accountability in the process of human development. And so we need a very robust institution. Our duty is the process. And we must ensure that's what we've been doing to safeguard the process from pre-existing influence, political influence of socially powerful groups and interests. Because votes, when it counts, it gives hope and rekindles confidence in the process of the leadership recruitment process. Because everything rises and falls with leadership.
All right.
But
let me interrupt you again. Sorry for doing that, but it's crucial. You know the kind of program we have. Mazi Okoroafo, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Yuri. Good morning, Mr. Mark. I want to find out from Mr. Mark. You see, the major issue we are seeing, when we talk about America, they did their postal services election. But here in Nigeria, we don't have it. Their own is electronics, and things are moving. Everybody's seeing it, but that's openly. Now, Mr. Igini, sir, I want to find out, why is it that it was too long, it took people too long to charge these offenders at Akwa Ibom? I'm asking this question because after the election, as people are coming now, people will look at that as if there's something behind bringing that the court case right now. And the INEC is creating a lot of problems. Because one, if you people, after announcing at that local level, and the local government, people from the community, they go to local government, you can send them out and send their messages to the headquarters. But the situation whereby they conduct election this morning, you will see the result in the midnight or early morning. It's not right. Because no matter whatever we do in this country, whatever we are talking about digital, no longer analog. But we are still talking about digital, but they are still analog. Because what we want now is that coming the election in Anambra, everything you are talking about this morning, we pray by the grace of God, let it be implemented there and then. So Nigeria will believe that there is a new system in INEC. Because thank God we said about Edo State. Thank God we said about the Sitogo or State. We have to move forward. Trump is saying that it's not afraid because Trump had his own mind. Because Trump came back late because he came back late because he didn't know that African system will come there. That is it. So it is just internationally, they are borrowed from Africa.
Mazi Okorabo, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your call. Thank you very much. Oh, Mazi. He said he didn't know African system was going to come back.
Absolutely.
Mazi, that was below the belt.
Yeah, right.
But the important question, Mazi,
there are two things I need to just comment on very quickly.
Why is it taking too much time,
yes,
in Mazi's view?
Now, Mazi,
to bring...
Now, listen, it's interesting that they raised this, and I took correction I need to make there. First, the United States of America is an example of good practice of federalism. So what you have is a multi-system. In fact, we have basically about 50 electoral systems in America. I will come to that as related to local government system in Nigeria. But two...
Mike, we're almost closing.
Oh, no, very, very quickly.
I just was alerting you.
It is not true that election in the U.S. is announced that same day. It takes a longer time, as you have now seen. But what happened previously was that, you see, the people that have been candidates in America, they were people of values, people who play according to the norms. And so you don't even know. The moment they know that when a projection is given, they just give what you call a concession call. That's why you think that will not take longer time. Nigeria is even faster than US. But they do projection. If based on projection, you concede.
You can concede.
Now, with respect to...
We don't do that here.
No.
Sorry, I got to interrupt you because Joshua has called in from Kaduna.
Yes.
Good morning, Joshua.
Good morning, sir. Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for good job you are doing.
You're very kind, sir.
And I want to thank Mr. Mike Igini.
Indeed.
For the good work he's doing. My prayer is that God will sustain him. He will be replicated in Nigeria. Nigeria will get to the point people will no longer be moving abroad again. But I have two questions for Mr. Mike Igini. Number one, why is it that INEC staff collect salary every month, but it's only during election they come to do registration for people to move to get PVC?
Okay.
Number two, why is it very easy for BVM, for anybody to walk to any bank and get your BVM done? But INEC card, it's only once it is 3 or 4 years time that they will bring up the registration.
Okay.
That area is flawed. It's becoming...
Okay, so sorry, let me quickly throw it to Mike. I'm so sorry because we...
First, number one, that system has changed. Under the Mamu Yakubu's regime, we are now doing what we call continuous exercise. We would have started immediately this year, but for the COVID crisis that came up and all of that. You know, that was why it had not commenced and all that. And of course, if you're following the news, the commission have already given a signal to that effect. So we have changed that process now. So before 2023, that process will continue to go on. Now, talking about, I think there was another question he said again. That was the basic question, you know, about the PVC and all that. So I mean, they go hand by hand and all that. You collect
example of how easy it is to get a BVM.
Actually, it is post-COVID. It is COVID that actually caused that situation where we all locked down at home and rules have changed, mode of interaction have all changed and all that. So, but don't worry, that will be done. Now, I was just trying to say that if you look at what happened in America.
In conclusion, actually.
Yes, the elections were conducted by electoral boards of each state. Regardless of which party that controlled that state, unlike in Nigeria, where local government elections are nothing but coronation events, where those who have been predetermined are made by the 36 governors who are currently sitting. All governors have been doing that, not only this one and all that. Can that happen in Nigeria? This is terrible for us. Today, Yori, there's no democracy. We have lost our local government system to every sitting 36 governor of the Federal Republic of Nigeria because there's no democracy at that level. That is where democracy is supposed to be. But today, we don't have that happening in our country. Okay, Mike, it's a tragedy.
I know. I got to squeeze in this question because, as I was saying, you are vice chair of the MDA Electoral Reform Committee. Now, beyond all of these, and we're so happy that you could, share this with us. Towards 2023, you've already accused we Nigerians that here you are. You people are going to 2023. There's much work. Towards 2023. What's your impression with the incessant, if you want, almost serial actions, against the committee, disputations and all that kind of a thing?
Of MBA elections?
No, not of MBA elections, of our own elections in Nigeria here.
Right. You just heard about the fact that everybody's working very hard to ensure that January 20th, they'll be handed over in America. We should revert back to what happened. The problem we have in the country, whatever works well, politicians don't like it. In 1979, in 1983, all electoral disputes should be resolved before people are sworn in. Because what happened is this. Once they are in, they are going to be using public funds to be persecuting election matters. That's why in Nigeria, you hear about billions being paid to my colleagues as fees. It's not done anywhere.
We're talking about the lawyers.
We must resolve.
When you say your colleagues, you meant the lawyers.
All
their fees.
Petitions must be sworn in before people are sworn in. United Kingdom, that even introduced Nigeria into election rigging, itself, for a period of 99 years, until 2010, there were no post-election dispute in the United Kingdom.
Indeed.
All right? Secret balloting that was introduced in 1856. Later followed by UK in 1872, and adopted by America in 1895, used to deal with issue about vote buying. If we follow it up here, by 2023, it doesn't matter. You can share the money to everybody, but if we're able to secure the secrecy of the cubicle where people are going to vote, you will lose your money. We should not continue to be on the radar of civilization. We should not continue to be on a race to the bottom. A race to the bottom is not going to be helpful to every one of us. Some of us, we have suffered so much for this country. But whether they believe in us, we don't know. The only problem we have is that we have no other place other than Nigeria. And so we are doing everything to build a society where there be opportunity for all and responsibility from all.
Very well put, Mike. Thank you very much, Mike Igini, Resident Electoral Commissioner in Akwa Ibom State. I don't know what to say, but we feel that we have good hands, running the ship over at INEC, and I'm sure all Nigerians just want the ideal that you see for that to be what will come to be. Thank you very much for making time for us this morning, Mike, as always. Always exciting to have you, not to mention informative. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I always say it, going to COVID-19, maintain all the protocols. COVID-19 has not gone away. In fact, they say it's making a second comeback. I won't say any more than that. I hope it doesn't hit the news where we begin to hit it every day because of its importance. Please wear masks, observe social distancing, etc. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.